our scout team is very similar to them. Our male practice squad, which unfortunately cannot be here to practice with us, is very similar. We have a kid who reminds me so much of Brianna Stewart and Katie Samuelson. And when we go out to recruit that male practice squad, we recruit 5'8" to 5'10" super quick guys, and then a lot of 6'2" to 6'4" wings. And so some of the things that we'll see tomorrow, we've been able to replicate a little bit in practice. I don't feel like you can totally understand what this is going to be like tomorrow until you're out there. The big point of emphasis has already been said. We've said it yesterday. We've said it multiple times. The first 5 minutes of the game are going to really dictate it in an incredible amount. We know that I used a word yesterday. It was probably incorrect. I used the word bully. I'd rather use the word dominate. They're going to try to dominate your soul for that first 5 minutes and break your will. And it's everything that we match their physicality from the very beginning. And that's what our plan is to do.
Zach.
Dan, you faced big posts before, obviously, you've gone well. Just what do Conn's posts bring that's different from something you've done?
I think their strength. Once you get past Brianna Stewart, who has a lot of similarities to John Quell with her shot blocking ability and her length and height and skill set, they're very similar players. Their other posts are explosive off the dribble from the high post. They shoot the three well enough to keep you honest, if not better. And their overall physical strength. They're a great basketball team. We all know that. Their basketball IQ of their post players is very high. They move without the ball very, very well. For us, I said yesterday, we're pretty good too, though. We have two post players that are outstanding in Kadrian Loss and Amadeus Samashi. And we may not have quite the physicality that they have, but we have kids that are highly skilled and can shoot the ball from three also. But we'll have to play really well.
Second row, Lauren.
With how quick they are and how many steals they're able to get, what do you guys need to do offensively to take care of the ball and do it?
We have to shorten passes to begin with. Everything that is going to come down to shortening passes and not letting them it's very difficult to get dribble penetration against them. They move their feet so well, and they're so active with their hands. You've got to keep your dribble, stay off the sidelines where they use the sideline as an additional defender, and you want to keep the ball in the middle as much as you can. We have some other things we think, but I'm not going to say anything about that until we get to the game, because we have a couple things that we've identified that we think that might be able to help us.
Okay, we'll take Pat and then Zach.
Pat, right? Pat, if you're composed and confident, and I mean really confident and composed, every zoo is a petting zoo when you think about it, and I told him that. Every zoo is a petting zoo, and what that means is that if we show great composure tomorrow and we have great confidence, we'll see if we can pet the husky, but I don't know if we will. But, you have to have composure and you have to have confidence when you come in here. You have to. You can't be cocky, and we're not that by any stretch. But you lose the game if you don't think that you can win. And so from this morning on, because we celebrate till midnight, kids celebrated, enjoyed it. We had an ice cream cake social. And then we woke up this morning and we really started bearing down and focusing. And, we just talked about, we're pretty good too. I mentioned it in the press conference yesterday. Amadeus Samashi is the best player in Hungary in her age group. And Kukuter is one of the best in Hungary. Kadrian Loss is the best player in Estonia. That's not the United States. But they're accomplished players also. And we're looking forward to seeing this as how good we are and what our measuring stick is. And how far we have to go as a team, as a coaching staff, and as players to reach this level, hopefully one day on a consistent basis. But we're looking forward to seeing how far we measure up tomorrow.
Go ahead, Zach.
Dan, another post question. Just how have you noticed the post play gearing, improving since the regular season St. Louis game?
Amadea Samashi has really stepped up in terms of her physicality. When Amadea was a freshman, she couldn't pay attention in practice because she was too busy worried about an accounting class or something like that, and she had a hard time separating the two. As a junior this year, she has really worked very hard on her body. No one eats as cleanly as she does, nor works out as much as she does in the weight room. She has made incredible strides in terms of body control throughout the season. What we've seen in the last month is we've seen her really accept and embrace hitting people and being physical. And that was something that really lacked in her game her first 2 years and even lacked probably up until January. And we've seen a big difference there. Now, she still doesn't have the strength that we want her to have, but she's going to go out there and, like she said, she's going to give you 100% of what she does have for the entire game. Kadrian Loss, she scored 20 points the other night, and we were really happy about that, but didn't get a single rebound. And, I've reminded her of that probably 6 or 7 or 12 times in the last 24 hours. Kadri allows us to extend defenses because she shoots that three so well. She, like I said yesterday, was recruited to be a guard, and our plan is to move her to guard next year. But she is our best post defender, and so her defense tomorrow, her physical defense, jamming cutters and jamming the post player, not allowing them to get to the block early is going to be so important. And both of them have to stay out of foul trouble because we don't go really deep in the post with any kind of size. The next post that comes in with any kind of size is a freshman, Angela Staffolino, who was expected to be, she was going to be a redshirt until October, and instead we played her, and she's given us really good quality minutes over these last couple games. But Angela and then Bree Thomas is a little bit of an undersized post. She actually really plays guard for us, but because we don't have a lot of post depth this year, that's the direction we have to go right now.
Just under 15 minutes to go with the locker room. Go ahead, Roger.
Roger Cleveland, Oakland American newspaper. Coach, a lot of people talk about trying to stop UConn, but on the flip side, how imposing is their defense? And do you have enough three-point shooters? Obviously, it looks like you shoot the ball pretty well up there to kind of spread them out and force them to extend their defense?
When we go recruiting, every single player that we recruit has to be able to shoot the three. Every player on our team, 1 through 14, has the green light to shoot the three at any time. So that's a mainstay of what our program is and what our standards are. UConn's defense is the best in the country in my eyes because they have such great size and they get after you so hard. And their arms being up and staying up and active is just, and they move their feet so well. It's so impressive. It is so impressive. And then if you're somehow able to get by them, you've got Brianna Stewart there, or the other big kid, and so that gives you a lot of trouble. Spreading them out is going to be really important to us. Not being rattled early is the critical point. We cannot be rattled early. With them switching, they can switch 1 through 5, and that's going to affect us. When we have Chastity and Magrosso in there at 5'3", that's going to affect us. Can she get by some of those people and get to the rim? I think one important thing is we've got to break the lane. In other words, we may be able to beat them off the dribble once in a while, but we're not going to get a clean layup. So drive it across the lane, swing, swing, attack, or swing, swing, should have an open shot. We're going to see.
Down in front.
Coach, you've been very successful in recruiting players overseas. What has been the selling point with maybe coming back to the state?
Well, at Duquesne, our brand resonates within about a 4-hour radius. Cincinnati, outer suburbs of Detroit, western suburbs of Philadelphia, northern Virginia, D.C. And we try to keep the best local players in Pittsburgh. Aaron Wiscoviak, who hit that three yesterday late, is a kid that was offered by ACC schools coming out of high school, and unfortunately had a very serious car accident as a freshman where she had a compound fracture of her leg, almost lost her leg. But we always try to keep the local kids like Aaron Wiscoviak and Chastity Omogrosso and Connor Richardson home. We've lost very few of them. Who have we lost? Madison Cable, whose parents, she's from Notre Dame, whose parents both played at Duquesne. Dad was an assistant women's coach. Shatori Walker at Maryland. We battled for them. So we always try to maintain the local kids to stay home. But with that being said, we have found that from an international perspective, we can get some really talented kids, especially posts, who fit our system, who can shoot the three. And, my wife, when we were talking this morning, she goes, "You're getting blown up all over the Hungarian women's basketball websites." You guys don't know anything about that, but my wife's from Hungary, so I know all about that. So we've been very fortunate that we've gotten a lot of very positive publicity over there. And like I had mentioned earlier, with Amadea and Eniku and Kadri and Yutza, those are kids that are very well known in their country for being, if not the best player in their age group, one of the very best. And that really helps sell the younger group. And we're successful in that for one big reason. We really get to know who the kids are and what their culture is and what their language is, and it's very important. I can treat you very, very well, or I can cuss you out, I guess you could say, in many different languages. And so the kids, I think, really appreciate that we can do things like that. But it's just part of who we are, and we understand the diversity of it very well. And us and Maine and Colorado State have really, and really South Florida, all four of us have really embraced that route in terms of getting our programs to where we are today.
Time for a couple more if anyone has a question.
Come on,
Over
guys.
here.
Is the program, in terms of time frame, do you think you can get to that year
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I thought we would be there in year one. My first year when I took over from being assistant to being the head coach, we had two players that are playing in the Euro League right now, in Orshi Seichi and Wumi Agunbiade, two kids that turned down many Power 5 schools. We had a very, very good team. That was a year of adjustment for the players, and it was a year of adjustment for me, learning. And we won 20 games and we went to the postseason, but it was a disappointing year. I mean, we were like 56 in the RPI. Last year, we won 23 games. I believe we were 45th or 46th in the RPI, and really felt like we were deserving of an at-large bid. That didn't happen. I think I mentioned this yesterday. In August of this year, I said to our boosters, if I don't screw it up, we're really talented and we're going to be really good. And I guess I didn't screw it up too bad. So it's worked out. It's not necessarily me, though. My assistant coaches do more than the average assistant coaches. Matt is our offensive coordinator, Matt Schmidt, and Rachel Wadowski is our defensive coordinator. Eddie Benton runs our transition and rebounding, and they do an incredible job of really coaching, because I allow my coaches to coach. And then you talk about the senior leadership and the upperclassmen leadership of April Robinson and Millie Gronish and Dev Workman and Amadea and Bree Thomas. Those five have imparted the culture and the standards of what Duquesne basketball is to those freshmen. And in turn, those freshmen allowed themselves to be coached, which is so critical, because you can have all the talent in the world. I mean, Chassia Magrosso had many Power 5 offers, and she had verbally committed to Pitt as a freshman, and she was two-time AAA State Player of the Year in the state of Pennsylvania. She didn't necessarily have to have April take her underneath her wing, and she did. And that says a whole lot to what that kid is and what our team is. It's been a magical year. There's no question about that. We hope that this is a magical year that will continue on a consistent basis, and we have built this program to be at this level on a consistent basis. And the freshmen that we have coming in next year we're really excited about. One of them is FIBA's best 3-on-3 player in the world at 18 and under. We've got a 6'2" guard coming from Montreal who's outstanding. And we have another player or two that are coming that are very, very high level. How quickly they adapt and how quickly we find experience at the guard spot will determine a whole lot, because we'll be very good in the post.
Okay, last one right here.
Coach, you mentioned first 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That's very important. Not giving away your game plan strategy. What is one of the things that you went over in your practice meeting with your coaches that you emphasized that this will give us the advantage in the first 5 minutes?
I don't know if we'll have the advantage. We just don't want to have the disadvantage. If that means calling a quick timeout If that means taking a 10-second backcourt violation as opposed to throwing it away and allowing them to have a layup and fuel the momentum that they always want to get in those first 5 minutes, we'll take the 10-second backcourt violation. Keeping the ball off the sideline so you don't have that extra defender there. Knowing that it's going to be a zone press more than likely, finding that middle person and coming and meeting your pass is going to be critical. And then the biggest thing is once you break that press, you don't want to pull the ball back out and set it up and have to beat their defense again. So once you beat them in transition, you got to go, go, go. So I'll kind of answer April's question that you said earlier. It's going to be a track meet. It's going to be a track meet. And hopefully we're not the turtle.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you all for supporting women's basketball. Thank you.